Welcome back, everybody, to another theme stream. It's your buddy Orange Hat here to bring you another theme stream Tuesday, where over the month I have been comparing two different movies of similar or of the same year, essentially, same story, same genre, and whatnot. I did well, not the same year for Violent Night and Fat Man. However, Armageddon and Deep Impact were in the same year, as is White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen in this one. So I will be discussing both these 2013 movies, how similar they are and how different they are, and in analysis, which one is better. So before I get started, let's say hello to the chat. We got Vanya, and he's leaving his opinion how Olympus is DC and White House Down is Marvel for short. And Neozoic, how to do. Now, folks, I will be breaking up my analysis with, let's see here, banners, which has story, cast, writing, effects, and acting. And if we have to break it down any further than that, we will. So, getting into it. And before we do get into it, rather, if you want to support my channel, hit the like or smash the like button on any video you see that I release, as well as just keep watching my videos with watch time. It helps. I can't check my watch time because apparently, well, I can actually show you the problem. Going to earn, I'm unable to fix the center problem, which is set up for Google AdSense, until I am able to fix that, which will be in 2025, not 2024, 2025. I'm going to have to deal with this whole problem for a year. So if you guys can just keep watching my videos, watching my playlists, adding to watch time, that'll help. I think I got like maybe 400 or 600 hours to go. I think I'm only going by possible projections here at this point. But yeah, so also stay tuned I will not be on the Bar Room podcast tonight. I am not a person that watches Echo. That was on that Disney Plus thing. It's MCU's lies about the first amputee character, when we all know that Bucky Barnes is the first amputee hero. I do not think that I have anything to contribute to tonight's Barroom podcast. It will be simply discussing the that piece of shit show Echo. So while they'll have their fun making fun of it, I have nothing to say about it other than what I just said. So give them a watch though tonight, 9 p.m. on Society Reviews channel. He's a good guy, good channel. So yeah, hello to Davian Donovan. You know what? I can do that right now. You know what? Didn't include music, soundtrack, and action category. Not all the movies I will be discussing are action oriented. You know? So yeah. I could add the music soundtrack though. I mean, I can do that right now. Action or music / score. And well, the acting is also part of the action, so there's no real reason to go further than that. But yeah, we'll start with hello to Davian, and I am doing good. White House Down wins over just by that much. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, let's get into it. The first one is for cast. let me pull up my talking points on here because I made sure that we'll start with White House Down. I said cast, but yeah. So this movie has a few names that I know well: Channing Tatum, Jamie Foxx, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Joey King, Jason Clarke, James Woods, Richard Jenkins. I know a little bit from Rachel Lefevre. I know of Lance Reddick was in this movie. Kind of plays an asshole, but still plays it well. Shout out to the late and great Lance Reddick. Jimmy Simpson I know him from different shows. He played a billionaire in Person of Interest. Michael Murphy, I am aware of. And let's see here. I believe that is all the people I am aware of for this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 actors, all pretty good actors. Joey King, growing up, I mean, she did The Conjuring. She was in this one, White House Down. She was also in Independence Day Resurgence. So I thought she's a good actress for one so young at the time. And I think that she did a very good job in this movie. I mean, it's been 11 years since these movies came out. So yeah, I thought she did a good job. Rachel Lefevre did a good job for the bit part she had in this. Richard Jenkins did a decent job until the ending where he gets outed. James Woods, unfortunately, has been blacklisted due to his political alignment. And I say that's unfortunate because I honestly believe that James Woods, if you have a villain in a story, the story actually works better with a very good villain. James Woods plays that villain very freaking well. Now, the way that these two stories differ is, yes, the White House gets invaded. Yes, it is taken over. However, in White House Down, it is an inside job. It is American terrorists, where in Olympus Has Fallen, it is North Korean terrorists. So it is both are very worst case scenarios. I mean, it's slightly worse when it's a foreign power invading and taking over the White House, but having extremists take over the White House, kind of like what happened in recent days with the insurrection that happened outside of the White House on January 13th. Pro-Hamas terrorists tried scaling the White House barriers and thankfully failed, but it still doesn't change the fact that there was an insurrection on January 13th. I will not say any more than that. Terrorists were trying to get past the barriers that were put up, and riot police were there. So yeah, thank God no one was hurt. However, I think that we are a little bit too lax on our policies. And honestly, if a person tried scaling the White House barriers like the front lawn, or if they tried to get over the barriers that were put even further outward to stop people from scaling them and whatnot, I think that they should have actually shot those people, because they proved that they were no longer there for peaceful intent, that they were there for violent intent. But anyway, getting back to it, the cast is brilliant. Going back to James Woods, he's a man in pain. He actually plays a somewhat complex character in this. I actually reached out to James Woods on Twitter, asking him what kind of villains when he plays villains, does he like to play? Over the top, complex, or other? Unfortunately, I haven't heard back. But you know what? That usually happens when you're shadow banned on Twitter. So, yeah. As for the cast for Olympus Has Fallen, let me get to it here. Cast. We have, obviously, Gerard Butler, Aaron Eckhart, Morgan Freeman, Angela Bassett, Rick Yoon, I'm aware of, Ashley Judd, Cole Hauser, yep, aware of him as well. Rhoda Mitchell. Let's see here. Robert Forster, Dylan McDermott, Sean O'Brien. Let's see here. Who else? And I do believe that might be all the ones that I know from this one. So, yes, with these or with those ones done, well, actually, wait, there might be one that I may have missed. Trying to search for her. I don't think she's in here. However, she was in the film. But yeah, wait, Philip Tan, I have seen him in movies as well. So anyway, let's count them down of the ones that are in this one. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. Movie that I recognize that James Wood is Videodrome, which I recommend if you haven't seen it. I will check it out if I get the chance. James Woods has been great in all the movies that he's played in, so I highly doubt that he has a bad role. So Jared Butler, I know, Aaron Eckhart, Morgan Freeman, Angela Bassett, Rick Yoon. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8. Melissa Leo, I do know as well. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And Philip Tan, I do believe, was one of them. So 14. So there's 14 that I know in Olympus Has Fallen. And I believe there was only like 10 or 11 that I knew in White House Down. So let me check again. 14 for Olympus Has Fallen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there was only 10 that I knew in Olympus Has Fallen. Or 11 if you count, so 11 rather, that I knew in Olympus Has Fallen. Other than that, so the cast, and they did a good job spreading out the cast. I think that Olympus Has Fallen takes it for cast when it comes to that particular category. It's funny that Olympus Has Fallen has both Two-Face and Lucius Fox in the movie together. Yeah, right? And yeah, together again. Yeah, that is true. So moving on to writing, let's get into that one. Yep. And here is the score. God dang it. So far, it is Olympus or White House Down 0, Olympus Has Fallen 1. So in terms of writing, the movie is, let me check the banner. Oh my God, I didn't even start with story. Whoops. So yeah, let's go to story instead. We'll go to writing right after because I accidentally hit cast first, which is, oops, story is above it. So yeah, story has, for White House Down, essentially a very pissed off head of the Secret Service has orchestrated an infiltration of the White House with mercenaries and people on or who are number ones on the threat matrix for the president and the government. Where White House Down is where during a foreign delegation going to the White House to assist because of aggressions against North Korea or from North Korea against South Korea, they have or South Koreans have invaded the White House. However, inside man is the biggest problem, where somebody has basically who used to work for the White House ends up being a person that assists in the taking of the White House. Also, Morgan Freeman is an amazing actor. You damn right he is. Um, where White House Down is essentially about a father who wants to be a Secret Service agent to help protect the president. However, he's immature and whatnot at first. Also, White House Down is more comedy action. It has a comedic element in it, or action comedy rather, where Olympus Has Fallen does not have comedy in it. I mean, you have a little bit of lighthearted comedy here and there, but Olympus Has Fallen is definitely a more serious, like, holy shit, shock value of what's going on, and like the worst case scenario. Both involve nuclear goals, where the bad or where James Woods in White House Down wants to nuke Iran because his son died in a botched mission into Iran. Where Olympus Has Fallen, the North Korean terrorist who infiltrated the White House wants to ignite all of the United States nukes in their silos, leaving the United States in a radiated wasteland. So, starting World War III or destroying our way of life as we know it in the United States, either or, because once nukes fly, all nukes fly. So it's the end of Mad. I would say that, or also I should go over the Secret Service connection to Olympus Has Fallen, because Mike Banning, played by Gerard Butler, was the president's top guard of the Secret Service. However, at the beginning of the movie, the first lady dies in a horrible accident, and Mike Banning chose to save the president instead of the first lady, which is his job technically. The president is of the highest priority when it comes to saving them or saving a life. Even against his own orders, you are to save his life and whatnot. And unfortunately, the first lady was killed. So he is essentially working for the Treasury. Afterward, he was basically kicked out of the Secret Service and working for the Treasury. So when the White House is attacked, he makes his way in and starts kicking ass. Where the same is with Channing Tatum. He's kicking ass, even though his daughter has been brought into the White House. There is a kid element in both stories as well, where the first son is going to be tried to be used as a bargaining chip to get to force the president's hand. Now, these movies have a slight difference, where the kid in White House Down is his daughter, or is Channing Tatum's daughter, played by Joey King, and she doesn't make it out of the White House, except at the end when the threat is saved, or when the threat is ended. So I do like that there is a little bit of a good story where the kid is useful, because she also posts what's going on inside the White House to her YouTube channel. And unfortunately, the press basically mentioned her by name, which is a huge mistake when you are dealing with children. But in movies, they don't really care about that. But then you have, excuse me a second, folks. Then you have Gerard Butler's character, who is basically an ex Army Ranger, military Delta Force kind of guy. And he goes in where you have Channing Tatum, who I believe also went overseas and whatnot, but he was just, or he only was regular Army, where Gerard Butler, to because this is going to lead to answering Vanya's question, or right here. Who do you think would win between Gerard's character and Tatum's? Gerard's character. Gerard would slaughter him. I mean, you see how easily he dispatches of multiple people. Um, Now I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a good fight. I mean, it would be a hell of a fight, but I do see Gerard winning that fight. However, in Olympus Has Fallen, they have to get the first son out. They managed to do so to rescue the kid, so he will not be used as leverage. Because in Olympus Has Fallen, they are looking for 3 Cerberus codes in order to turn off the self-destruct sequence to all of our nukes. So or to turn off the abort sequences for all of our nukes, so that they can be, or if they were launched, they can be self-destructed to avoid, or if they were launched by accident or by force, they could be self-destructed. However, by deactivating that safeguard, you can't stop them from being detonated. Now, I gotta say, how they do the how they show, or in the story, both presidents are put to the test, where James Gunn literally puts a gun to the little girl's head, and he's like, "How about now?" And he tells the girl, "I cannot open this for him. If I do, millions of people will die. Do you understand?" He's talking to the girl who has a gun to her head. And she, in her young wisdom, understands. And she's actually accepting of the fact that she might get her head blown off. Where in Aaron Eckhart's character in Olympus Has Fallen, he does not want to see his staff getting hurt, and and he's like, "They'll never get my code." And it's like, there is still a chance that your code can be hacked, can be freaking decrypted or decoded. So he allows he allows his staff to essentially get the codes. One of them, Secretary of Defense, what's her name? She actually is getting beaten up, and it's like, holy crap, man. Sorry about that. Heard something out there. But anyway, I think I got echo or background noise cancellation on. But yeah, I gotta say, I do like how these movies are similar and also alike, where, or similar, however different. Where you have the way of comedy kind of being integral with the story of the taking down of the White House. Honestly, in my opinion, should never be an element in that, or in a movie where you rely on comedy because you make the defense of this nation a joke. Where in Olympus Has Fallen, it is a more serious incident. A foreign power is slaughtering. And let me tell you something, folks. I had to pause Olympus Has Fallen to take a moment when I am seeing Secret Service agents and whatnot getting brutally shot down by high caliber machine guns. They didn't skimp on the blood in this movie. And also, when it or for story and whatnot, I do also want to add this for the budgets. White House Down had a $150 million US budget or USD budget, and it made only a total gross of $205.4 million. That's a flop. So Olympus has fallen, if you can see here, $70 million, grossed 98.9 million in the US and Canada, and 71.3 million in other territories for a $170.2 million budget or box office gain. That is a success because if you take it to account, 70 million. So, well, actually, I think this might just be under a success. So let me actually, or if they're talking $70 million for the budget and you do the 1.5, so that's 205 million. So let's actually look. Was Olympus Has Fallen a box office success? It's in its first weekend, the film grossed 30.5 million in its second weekend and exceeded predictions at 23 million. It grossed 172. So they're basically saying it was semi-successful. But let's ask, or the movie, it was a hit, grossing 170, spawning 2 sequels. So apparently it was actually successful. Because apparently the marketing was possibly just under 70 million, so they didn't do too much for marketing. I do recall there was very little marketing for White House Down. So let's ask, was White House Down a box office success? Let's see here. Despite being a massive PG tentpole designed to appeal to all audience, less money domestically than Tatum's micro budget 20 or Magic Mike. Yeah. So was White House Down a success? It was not. So White House Down is a flop where Olympus Has Fallen with a smaller was a success. Now I don't need to hold these anymore. So when it comes to the story, I like Olympus. As much as that movie shook me a little bit, I like that story better. You should not relegate a comedic element to our nation's or defense. You know, I don't think that it's really an appropriate message. That's in my opinion. So before I go any further, let's cover some more stuff here. So yes, in words of story, Olympus Has Fallen has taken the lead or has taken the point. How would I compare Channing Tatum's role with other roles such as Step Up, G.I. Joe, 21 and 22 Jump Street? So glad you didn't ask about Magic Mike because I never saw those movies. I think that Channing Tatum is a good actor. He has ADHD, which is similar to me because we're both ADHDers. And I can see that that is actually in his acting element. He puts that in his acting. It kind of allows him to really do a good job with comedy. I think that he or his roles in those other movies, this movie was actually a better role for him. The role of Duke in the G.I. Joe films, as brief as it was in the second film, I thought he did a good job in them. But White House Down to me is one of his top movies, even though the movie didn't succeed. How would I compare Jamie Foxx's movies or performance as the president compared to Django Unchained, or Amazing Spider-Man 2, No Way Home, yada yada. Jamie Foxx is also a good actor. I think that he has an amazing talent when it comes to being comedic as well as being dramatic. I think that he did a good job in the Amazing Spider-Man films as Electro. Uh, I think he did a good job slightly as the president in this movie. Comedic element and all. So yeah, I thought that he did good there. How would I compare Morgan Freeman? There was a part in this movie where he was essentially sworn in as president due to the fact that he was Speaker of the House. First thing he does as president, I would like a cup of coffee in a real cup. And it's like, really? Fucking really? And then he got he got very serious at that part. Morgan Freeman, when it comes to acting, is top tier. I mean, he is above top tier. When I say top tier, he is above top tier. That man has done, or one of his best roles was in Glory. But or in Olympus Has Fallen and Deep Impact, Shawshank Redemption, Dark Knight trilogy, very good movies. I have not seen him play a bad role. Morgan Freeman is just that good. He's one of those actors that hasn't had a bad role, despite if the movie is bad or not. I mean, he just carries that gravitas with him. So I really liked him in Olympus Has Fallen. So yes, the story stands for or stands to Olympus Has Fallen has 2, White House Down, zip. I guess Olympus Has Fallen is less is more. Actually, less is more when it comes to budget, yes, because the budget, or as less as it was in the budget, they still did a good job with it. So moving on to writing. You had complex characters in White House Down. You have very straightforward characters in Olympus Has Fallen. The writing and the story, or the writing of the story of both movies, are very good movies. And yet, when you have a more complex narrative, that goes to show you have better writing, in my opinion. Olympus Has Fallen is a straightforward movie. White House Down, semi straightforward, but there is a greater mystery in it. There is an outside force outside of who you know to be the bad guys that may have been involved in the infiltration of the White House. Olympus Has Fallen doesn't really have that problem. They show you right up front the problem, the people involved, the bad guys. So yeah, you know who is who. Where Olympus Has Fallen is a very straightforward film, White House Down has the complexities that allow for a little mystery to be put in the film. So in terms of writing, White House Down actually takes the score, because you have to do a complex story with complex characters and a complex interwoven mystery here. Great freaking job doing that in White House Down, where you have a straightforward story, and that's not a bad thing. A straightforward story is very good when it's a serious story. However, a straightforward story can still be well done. However, when a more complex story is done, it goes to show that a lot more nuance in the writing was required. A lot more skill in the writing was required. So when it comes to writing, yes. And hello to Toodlesay. Good to see you. White House Down takes the score for writing. And yes, that is a smaller and more quicker breakdown, but you can't really break it down much more than that. So, effects. I've seen both these movies do or their special effects. You have the nighttime effects of Olympus Has Fallen, as well as some daytime effects with the overall assault. However, most of the movie takes place at night, and there is attacks at night, which can cover special effects very well. Wherein the special effects for White House Down was done during the day. It takes balls to do special effects during the day when you know that they're going to be imperfect special effects. However, the special effects in White House Down were actually pretty darn well done. They're not perfect. However, you do see that they have, or you also see, um, you could tell what's green screen. So setting and lighting and effects are all going into the same thing. Setting and lighting in White House Down or Olympus Has Fallen, superb. Special effects, not well done. Basically hidden due to the fact of nighttime. The effects in White House Down are actually very well done, even though they take place during the day, and you can still see the imperfections. And it's okay, Dabian. I'll see you then. Take care, buddy. And thank you for watching right now. And yep, Thursday night will be The Rock with Mara. And how would I compare Olympus Has Fallen with other Antoine Fuqua movies such as Training Day, Equalizer trilogy? Recently saw Equalizer 3, so yeah. Southpaw, The Magnificent Seven, Tears of the Sun, King Arthur. Anton Fuqua is a brilliant fucking actor, or not actor, but director. The man can freaking direct. And he's done Olympus Has Fallen. I believe. Did he do London and Angel? I do not know if he did that. But man, this movie or Olympus Has Fallen, he did a very good job with. White House Down, I can't remember who directed that, so let me look that up. Who directed White House Down? Roland Emmerich. You got Roland Emmerich doing White House Down. Holy crap, dude. No wonder this kind of gave a little bit of vibes of freaking Independence Day. But yeah, White House Down, I think, had the better effects because you had effects that were done during the day that were actually pretty tight. Could have been a little bit better, especially on a $150 million budget. However, I think that they still did better than the ones that were on a $70 million budget and hidden. But you could also tell that lighting was an issue when it came to blue and green screen. So, yeah, I do think that Olympus Has Fallen does not take the score in White House Down or in effects. White House Down takes the score for that. So that actually puts White House Down at 2 and Olympus Has Fallen at 2. So moving on to acting. Now, when you have complex elements in a movie, acting is very important. When you have, yep, there's the updated score. When you have the element of a straightforward story, it's also equally important. You have to basically have, or the one big problem with Olympus Has Fallen was Gerard Butler having to do an American accent. His accent very much slips in this movie. Now, don't get me wrong, he's still one hell of an actor. You have Dylan McDermott, who is also a great actor. You have Aaron Eckhart, who is also a great actor. Morgan Freeman. The acting in Olympus Has Fallen is great. You have also great actors in White House Down. James Woods, Joey King, as young as she was. Friggin' Jamie Foxx, Channing Tatum. They're good actors. And you got to be able to pull off action and comedy in an action comedy film that you're doing. And they did that pretty well. However, Joey King, when she was younger, she still needed to work on her acting a little bit more. However, she did it very well. One of the things she does very well, or that was done very well, was, well, she had to cry a lot and pout a lot and freak out a lot. However, when she was trying to be serious, when somebody puts a gun to her face, she's trying to put up a brave act. Could have been a little bit better. However, I wouldn't have acted it that way. So, Olympus Has Fallen, when it comes to acting, yes, it's a more straightforward movie. However, I believe that straightforward is a better acting method than comedy or than action and comedy, because those are two elements that, if you're good, that's not great, and you need great when it comes to action comedy for action comedy to sell. Olympus Has Fallen, the acting in that movie really, I mean, Anton Fuqua, when he directs for the acting, he knows how to direct for acting. And the acting really is enhanced by his his direction. Also, he did not direct London and Angel. Damn. It was the director Babak Najafi. Okay. What about Angel Has Fallen? Did he do that one? Nizok. So, when it comes to the acting for Olympus Has Fallen, that one is far more superb than White House Down. White House Down is a good movie, don't get me wrong. But Olympus Has Fallen has the better acting. Now, there is one, or I do want to clarify something in this. One of the main things I did not like in Olympus Has Fallen was when they were dragging out the Secretary McMillan character. She started doing the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And one of the things that I noticed a lot of movies have been doing over the last 15 years is making sure that if there is any sort of mention of government, they go out of their way to make sure that the words republic are not mentioned when it comes to real world politics in the United States. Because they are at this time, they were trying to fool the masses into believing that we are a democracy. And I'm sorry, folks, but in this, or discussing these two movies, you are going to have a little bit of a political commentary here. Politically speaking, folks, the United States is not a democracy, despite what the politicians and despite what entertainment would like you to think. We are a republic, which in the Pledge of Allegiance, which has been taken out of our schools for reasons of disinformation to perpetuate disinformation. I'm going to basically give you guys the Pledge of Allegiance, which is I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is unfortunate that mainstream media, politicians, and Hollywood all perpetuate the biggest lie to the people of the United States. And when even Fox News puts up democracy 2024, we're a republic. We're a constitutional republic, to be further accurate. The only democratic process that we have, the only democratic process we have, is a vote. That's it. And you know what? Technically, that's not even purely a democratic process. Because in order for it to be a purely democratic process, pure democracies is the majority rule of the people. If more than half of the people want your house, they get your house. We're in a democratic republic, or we're in a constitutional republic, excuse me, Freudian slip. We have the law of the land. And it's not even a majority rule when it comes to our votes. We have an electoral college. So, yeah, despite in this election year, don't fall for the big lie. We are a republic. Now, moving on back to the mainstream, Olympus Has Fallen definitely takes acting. So we will go back to the next one, which is leads. Gerard Butler and Aaron Eckhart are considered the leads, and Morgan Freeman are considered the leads for Olympus Has Fallen. Where White House Down, James Woods, Channing Tatum, and Jamie Foxx are the leads for White House Down. I will say that I am more familiar with Gerard Butler, Morgan Freeman, and Aaron Eckhart. I am more familiar with them. However, that does not necessarily mean that automatically goes to them. The acting or the leads, I'm also very familiar with Jamie Foxx, with James Woods and Channing Tatum. I know that, or I know their work as well. So this is actually a harder one to do because I know their movies that well. So speaking to it, I like Olympus Has Fallen's leads more, just a little bit more than White House Down, because while Jamie Foxx, Channing Tatum, and James Woods, God bless James Woods, I think that James Woods' character carried the movie more for White House Down, where you had equal disbursement among Aaron Eckhart, Gerard Butler, and Morgan Freeman. So White House Down has taken the lead thus far. And that will move us on to our next score, which is music score or music and scoring. Watching both movies, and I have watched both movies very quite recently. I do not remember much of the score from White House or from Olympus Has Fallen, where I do recall the score to White House Down. The score done by Olympus Has Fallen is good. However, I would have to watch the movie again to in order to listen to the score more. Where in White House Down, it was catchy and emotional enough to actually remember it in the first time I saw it years ago. Also, I don't know if you have seen the comment, but Angel Has Fallen was directed by Rick Romanoff, Romanoff, or Rick Romanoff. Wall. Thank you, Neozoic, for pointing that out. So when it comes to music and whatnot, music is important. If you cannot remember the musical score to a movie, if it doesn't really hit you, that doesn't really necessarily mean that a movie is necessarily worse than another one. However, it does, but if you are um, making an objective analysis, like here, Angel or Olympus Has Fallen doesn't really have that well of a score or a soundtrack to be noticeable. I can't remember it. Where White House Down has that score, and Roland Emmerich does a very good job when it comes to getting people to do good scores for his movies. Every Roland Emmerich film I've seen, I remember, or I can easily remember the score to. So yeah, White House Down actually takes the music and score for the movies. Now, I am going to or that will basically cover the 7 topics. White House Down only came up with 3, while Olympus Has Fallen has 4. So Olympus Has Fallen is the winner. Objectively, the story is better than White House Down. Olympus Has Fallen also had a box office success, where White House Down did not. White House Down, or these movies were 3 months away from each other. I do believe White House Down was done after Olympus Has Fallen. Olympus Has Fallen came out March 18th, 2013, where White House Down came out June 28th, 2013. So a little over 3 months apart these movies are. However, Olympus Has Fallen was the better film. White House Down had the comedy element, had good actors, don't get me wrong. I like both of these films, to be completely honest. White House Down is easier to absorb, where Olympus Has Fallen, given its serious element, was very hard to see all those Secret Service people getting mowed down and our White House being taken over by a foreign threat. That's just the patriot in me, really, because it is, you don't ever want to see something like that. Well, I mean, if I was to see a foreign power taking over our White House, it would hurt. It would hurt a lot. If I saw a terrorist element or a domestic terrorist element taking over our White House, it would still hurt a lot. But as it's been happening a lot more often when it comes to terrorist element or domestic terrorists damaging our country, it doesn't, or I'm more desensitized to it when it comes to if a foreign power were to take over the US. that's an unimaginable scenario for me. And to see it done in Olympus Has Fallen really shocked the shit out of me. I mean, as I said, I had to pause to basically stop, collect myself. It's like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. So yeah, Olympus Has Fallen is a good movie where White House, or is a great movie where White House Down is a good movie. And I really do feel that um Olympus Has Fallen has deserved its sequels. I have not yet seen London Has Fallen and Angel Has Fallen. I have to basically watch those movies again, or actually get those movies to watch them after I've seen Olympus, which I have. I've seen Olympus, and I thought it was actually very good. I mean, I freaking love when Gerard Butler's in the Oval Office. He's like, "I'm here, use me." So, um, yeah, Vanya. It's like I said, yeah, it's harder to watch for me where I see White House Down, and it's like, well, considering we have bad actors in the White House today, I'm rather desensitized to it because that's what we're going through right now is basically not so much terror or not so much terrorism. I mean, well, to be completely honest, yes, terrorism is a factor in today's White House. They are they are intimidating through and using some, or they are basically intimidating for political purpose. And that does fall under the definition of terrorism. The Biden administration is a terrorist regime. Where if a foreign power were to come in, that would be more shocking. Anyway, folks, that is going, or again, the winner is Olympus Has Fallen. When it comes to a better White House movie that is where the White House has been infiltrated, Olympus Has Fallen is the more objectively well done film. So next week, I do believe, or the sequels, I'll have to check out the sequels. So next week, let me pull up my stream here, Tuesday theme stream list. I do believe it is Volcano versus Dante's Peak. So yes, Volcano versus Dante's Peak will be next week. This week, Wednesday, I will be on Jade Shadow's channel for National Treasure 2, which I'm going to be watching tonight. The Rock, I will be watching tomorrow for Thursday's singles. And Friday, all depends on what's going on. I might have a Orange Hat Unleashed. I might, or Uncensored. I might not. And the weekly recap will be back on or will be coming in on Sunday. If anybody wants to join, if you're a YouTuber and you want to join, hit me up. So yes, thank you to everybody who came in. Vanya, Neozoic, Toodle Say, Chris, Dabian, and let's see here. I do believe that is all. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Stay tuned for tonight for the Barroom Podcast. I will not be joining again. I do not want to give any sort of exposure to the show Echo. I have written off the MCU. I don't have any interest in it anymore. So yeah, I will not be discussing that. Sorry, folks. I'm standing by my principles on this one. However, I might tune into them as they are going live and whatnot, just to provide a couple of comments here and there. However, yeah. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Next week is Volcano versus Dante's Peak. And I will talk to you, or this week is or ones and twos and singles for Mara. Also stay tuned for Thursday night when I give a special announcement for another singles, which I have already said about, but if you missed it, I'll talk about it again. Anyway, folks, have a wonderful day. This has been Orange Chat. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon and night, evening, wherever you are. Hope it's awesome. Always remember, stay humble.